You're listening to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
Hey there, how's it going? I am Anna. I'm here with Paul, and we are here to talk classic games, as the name of the episode stated, as was said before, so I don't need to say it now.
Yeah, and frankly, Hope already says it. She does a bloody brilliant job. This is Anna's point. I'm just shamelessly stealing it. But Anna's like, look, listen. Hope says it. Just she knocked it out of the park. It's as clean and well put as you could do it. Why do I have to follow that act and butcher it every week in and out? It's
So
like,
true.
you know what show it is. Please don't make me do this anymore. So I was like, okay, let's maybe just start it like you're answering a phone call. And that was better. I don't think we're there yet. I think we're gonna have
No,
to try another approach
needs a
next
bit of
week.
work.
But yeah,
Maybe not explaining what I'm doing after attempting to do it. But I mean, keep in mind, guys, this is real time. You're hearing the show change and morph before your very ears.
yeah, exactly. My cat might have given birth in the last few minutes, and I'm serious.
Oh,
But the
congratulations.
show bloody goes on. No, it's a terrible thing. I don't want anymore. I don't like cats anymore. They talked me out of it. I used to love them.
Well, I'm not taking one of them, so you can keep them.
Yeah, well, the last 3 I mailed you got returned, so that's fair enough.
Yeah, well, I'm not in Abu Dhabi, so.
All right, speaking of Abu Dhabi, we got Gabriel Knight for you guys, which is awesome. And you Abu Dhabi, you say? Well, he has a bookstore, and in that bookstore there is a book on Abu Dhabi, probably. So
Yeah, there's a book on just about anything in that bookstore, and you have to click long and hard and fast to find them all.
exactly, and then, of course, we're talking about St. John's bookstores in New Orleans, where my car is currently at this very moment. I swear to God, it's super weird, but I'm not there, but my car is in the spirit of this episode, and so Gabriel Knight is he's a guy in a bookshop, and he works there with Grace Nakamura. Gabriel's an author. He's got layers, and he's well. Let me give you the quick synopsis. All right, this is you're browsing Blockbuster Video because this is a movie for some reason, and you flip the back of the box over, and it's like the voodoo murder is happening, and Gabriel wants to use those as material for his bloody book or whatever. Are the murders just hype from the press and the town, or is there something more supernatural going on? Also, what about Gabriel's family heritage, and how does that tie in? Also, I didn't. I just wrote also one last time and didn't finish the note. Uh, well, listen, that's what's going on here. It's got a lot of layers. I played it many times over the last decade or so. Anna just played it, so you're gonna get two different perspectives on it today.
You bring up a fantastic point. This game is, as you say, layered. It's clearly written by an author, which it is. We'll get into that as well. It's like you expect it to be just a basic game. There's crime, there's voodoo, but no, there's just so much going on that you get into the storyline, and it gets you into the game and can help you pass some of the more frustrating aspects of playing an old school point and click game, even in the modern day.
Yeah, no, you bring up a really awesome point. That's why this game stands out for me. It's kind of always been in like my probably top 3 or 5, because it's the backbone of the game is just like amazing writing from of course Jane Jensen, and just yeah, it stands out as something, a story on its own that's extremely interesting, and like you just so happen to get to play it as well. Like it would read as a, well, I mean, it is a standalone book also, um but yeah, you can tell it was written by a real writer, an actual like storyteller who studied the craft, like that level of storytelling, of writing, which is probably, if not definitely, ridiculously common nowadays, at least, in more major titles and things like that. But back in the day, um you know that wasn't necessarily the thing you might think it was. It's like, well, of course they're professional writers. Like, well, for better or worse, oftentimes better. But regardless to say, yeah, this is a special game. This is the game that for the Lucas players, I'm always like, look, listen, it's bloody. If you're gonna, I say it like that too. It's just it's a parental trick. You throw both at them like a left right. Look, listen, and like it knocks them out. They're dazed for a second. Like shit. They pay attention. They don't know why. And you're like, this is the one Sierra game. If you're gonna play one, play this. Like it's even somewhat close to a LucasArts style game in a way, but also not at all. Anna, your thoughts?
I mean, how else? What can you do? Okay, I'm trying to tell my kids that this game is something. I'm like, how do I convince kids that this game is something outside of the amazing art? Well, I mean, I can kind of just listing stuff off. Have you ever seen Star Wars? Potentially. Have you heard of Mark Hamill? Have you heard of Leah Remini? Maybe. Have you heard of Tim Curry? You can throw. Do you know Worf from? Have you heard of Michael Dorn? I mean, you can connect with anybody in any generation. Why wouldn't you play this?
You a bloody king and the queen's guy or whatever. What's your tonic? Star Trek. We got your Star Treks, your Star Wars. We got. Yeah, we got it all because I think you listed the names right because that's our due diligence, if you will. We have to say the thing because we're not claiming to be an authority on this. We're actually the opposite. But I think people see a podcast and they're like, oh, they must know what they're talking about. So certain things we got to say, like Leah Remini, who was
and
great.
That she was in Saved by the Bell, which is where I originally knew her from before King of Queens. And I thought she was super hot.
See, I didn't know that. You told me that again for the first time just now, because I think you did this to me last time. Oh, yeah, that's right, everybody. We did this entire episode a week ago or two or something. I don't even know. What is time? Jesus Christ. We did. Yeah, we did the whole thing, and there was a problem with it. But here we are again. We're doing it again. We're doing it live.
We like this game so much we just can't stop. But yeah, you did find out before, and I'm like, she was awesome in Saved by the Bell, and you're like, when was she in Saved by the Bell? And I'm like, oh, it was like the colleges, and it was later on, and she was the daughter of the guy who owned the beach house where Zach and all of his friends worked, and she was a great like sexual interest contrast to the others there, and so she started off in a pretty awesome position there.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that, and I bet you taught a lot of people that too just now for the second time. But like, I will say too that she, in my opinion, is the strongest voice actor in the cast. I think she just kills it. Like she's a bloody natural at it. Like say what you will about Tim Curry's part, which we could talk about in a second because I want to get your opinion on it. But yeah, she's just like rock solid. I mean, Michael Dorn's good too, but he's kind of just Worf, so it's weird, but it fits. It fits because he's he's this giant menacing voodoo priest, like 6'6" looking guy. Because Gabriel's supposed to be tall, I believe. Anyway, but let me just ask you, what do you think of the voice acting? We got that's a bloody hot button topic for this game. Is always the voice acting. So let's hump that real quick and move on.
So yeah, I really like the voice acting in as much as I like the voice acting in any game because I'm often impatient with it, and I'll leave the voice acting on and then listen to them say some of it, read through the thing, and then cut them off before they're done talking. And for me personally, that's no problem. But when there's people around me and I'm trying to play a game, I feel like, well, I don't feel like they say, "Wow, that's pretty annoying." So, but yeah, the actual voice acting was good. I know they had the pros. I didn't actually know the first time through who all played who, so I didn't even know all of the voices were involved in it. I didn't know Michael Dorn was with the voodoo guy. Cat. Sorry, that's my cat. I didn't know that he was the voodoo guy, but of course it makes sense. I actually tried to go into this game as Virginially as I could. Like I tried not to learn about it or know anything about it. I didn't even know it had a hint system like built into it while I was playing it. I didn't use it. So, but yeah, the narrator made a huge difference in the game as well. I found the original narrator, it kept it pretty static. He kind of had that little bit of a snark, but not so much as you felt silly doing things. You kind of felt like the narrator in this game was working with you. He was like your buddy. You guys are working on the game together. And then I didn't even realize you had a choice. So when I went and did a second playthrough, and then I had the other narrator, the lady from New Orleans, and she was kind of making me feel bad for doing things. She's just like, oh, yes, okay, put that over there, but she'd make it sound like it was silly that I would even think to put it over there in the first place, but not quite in like a Gary Owens kind of a way. So like I wasn't as much of a fan of that narrator as I was of the male narrator in this game.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you touched on it, because that's probably the one point I really wanted to get to with this episode in regards to the game, as far as having. I mean, there's nothing, let's say, unique or new to say to a certain degree about a game of of this age for our listeners, because they watch the YouTube videos too, and they obviously are looking for material on this kind of stuff like we are, hence why they're listening. So there's not a lot of new things to say about old stuff. But something that I don't hear talked about a lot is the tale of two tones, to steal a title of a Pushing Up Roses video, because this game has two tones depending on the narration, and I'll just say real quick that comes from a Police Quest video from Pushing Up Roses, which her channel's awesome. Check her out and check that video. I don't agree with that video, by the way. I don't think it's two tones, but I won't get into that. If they, but if for some reason that open-ended statement I just made angers somebody, send a bloody email, and we'll do an episode. We'll do a Patreon thing about it or something. But listen. I did the listen thing again. Sorry, I've been having to get my son's attention a lot this week.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen.
Look, listen. It's like scolding the audience. I feel like could some of them driving right now just snap to the attention, like, what? Jesus Christ, man, right? Sorry. So anyway, the tale of two tones thing with this is that, in my opinion, the Virginia Capers narration, yeah, it's probably too slow. Like it's charming for a while, and then she either berates you when you do stuff wrong, as you said. It's easy to do stuff wrong because of the control system in this game, which is the big critique, and we'll get to that later. But that does bait you into getting yelled at even more by her, and to the point of the actual tonal difference is that the Virginia Capers is kind of a representation almost of like Sierra. Like there's a do you know what I mean? There's like a just breaking your balls, just coming at you all the time. Like it's kind of in a jokey way, but also in like a relentlessly bullish way, and which is a lot of times is fun, and in a good Sierra way. Obviously, we're big Sierra fans. Jesus Christ, yeah. If this was your first episode, yeah, don't worry about it.
Like, oh, Sierra haters. No, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no, no,
yeah,
no,
don't
no.
worry about it. But it changes the tone. But I guess there is another element of this game that is inherently Sierra, I guess, without the narration. Like there is still like a slapstick ridiculousness about it, where like if you were to squint your eyes, the experience could be called spooky, I guess, thriller-y ish, especially with the soundtrack. But that's only like with blurred vision, because like if you're really watching it and experiencing it, it's kind of ridiculous, like most Sierra games. Like it has a lot of like silliness, just bonkers, silly. There's no other word but silly. Just ridiculous stuff that goes on, almost Space Questy at points. And did you notice that?
Like the kid when with the whole thing with the kid dancing in the hot dog vendor, and then he loses his piece of paper that's painting and super important to him, but nobody can reach it except for this kid specifically.
Right.
Like, it's like, yeah, because you're a grown up. You can't just like reach over the fence and grab the piece of paper. You have to like create this whole complex storyline that takes up a good portion of the day just to deal with this like piece of art so that he can represent another piece of art. So I get it. Like, and I get the plot progression, but it's just, silly Sierra stuff. Because actually that one is even more confusing, because that actually brings up the control scheme being a little bit silly, because you have to like get a coupon for the hot dog vendor out of the cash register, but to open the cash register, you have to click the door icon, which means open generically. But in my head, I'm like, why would I open the door of the cash register? I did the use icon on the cash register. Which, I mean, and it's like, oh, you can't open it. Oh, okay, I'm going to ignore that. So I spent forever wandering around what to do and how I could get a hot dog from the hot dog vendor.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess before I switch on to controls, I will just say that I really I love the ridiculousness of it, and honestly, I think that the reason this is probably like in my top three is because,
Mhm.
in a sense, even the game I'm doing right now is kind of the idea that I just explained, where it's like
Exactly.
if you squint your eyes, it's spooky, like spooky, but like like that kind of spooky, and just for the fun of it, for the kind of energy or vibe, the hopefully like the similar happiness that Halloween brings people, like that kind of
Mhm.
spooky, and then the story itself is like there's moments of in Gabriel Knight of it just being silly or aloof or downright funny or not, of course, but yeah. Anyway, so I
Well,
love
even the
that
death
about it, but
scenes,
yeah. Well, God, some of the death
they're
scenes are
funny
fucking
because
brutal. Whew.
they're brutal, and then you're just like, oh yeah, you're dead. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna open your shirt and draw your tattoo. Yeah, cool. And you know what, even if you forget to tell the police officers about the death, I mean that the story still progresses, and then he'll just kind of be left there, but then he'll disappear. But yeah, that one, or the professor dying, and you're like, yeah, no biggie, I'm just gonna search around your drawers and just kind of wander away.
Yeah.
Sucks you died though. So it's so Laura Bow. I mean, this game is so much Laura Bow in my head in so many ways. It's a great follow up to the series in a
Yeah,
way.
I have that completely in common with you. And actually, I don't think we've actually really discussed that before.
Hmm.
In a candid sense or genuinely, I've always grouped both the Lara Bow games and this together as
Oh,
just like
mhm,
one like Sierra masterpiece in a sense, where it's like, all right, like if you give me those three games and the Space Quest series, like I could,
mhm.
you know, I could just wander off or whatever. Sorry, I was getting a curse, and my son's next to me, and it kind of ruined my flow there. But
Actually, you bring up a great point. That another like this, how does this game pull you in? Why is it different? Because like all of a sudden you're leaving Magentia's house and you're asking her questions and you leave and then Gabe's just like, ah shit. And I'm like, what did I just hear a video game from the 1990s say to me? Because okay, maybe I'm a little bit more sheltered, but in a Sierra game, I had personally never encountered that. And there was a couple of swears here and there, saying bitch or saying shit or whatever, but it was cool. It was more real. It felt a little bit more off the cuff, uncensored, like I'm playing something that's kind of happening real life wise, not like I'm playing something formulaic and everything that's supposed to happen is going to happen anyways.
right, yeah. No, you're absolutely right, and it's just with the way the dialogue trees were, the locational aspects, as far as having free reign of the map. It it did it did it did really kind of everything right. Like I know I have a bias, and I think I don't know. I guess on the contrary, I think we've spent a lot of this whole intro really to going over critiques. So I think it's fair. It's like that'll do, right? I'm officially being honest about it, but now's the kind of point where I'd say like this game kind of just did everything right for me, where it gave me that I don't know, this game and Fate of Atlantis to me have a
Mhm.
I don't know, they're almost like the like a I just I don't know comic books well enough. Damn it! I was gonna be like bloody Batman and Spider Man. Like who's the top from Marvel and DC? It's kind of like that where I would say like Fate of Atlantis is LucasArts is Ziz perfect
Mhm.
game, and Gabriel Knight is perhaps the closest to perfect that Sierra did.
Mhm. Yeah, it is, and I mean, now I've learned this since we've recorded the last episode, because I'd been mildly complaining about the control system and how many controls you had to click through to get, because I kept losing where they were, and then I'd skip over the one that I wanted to get to. Like I wanted to get to the question mark, but I'd get to the exclamation mark. And then the interview with Jane Jensen there, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, people were writing in and saying that the games were too simple, the interactions were too simple, and so we went out of our way to make it slightly more complicated to appease the players." And I personally was thinking, like, what did you get? One letter? What, like, could you? I can't even imagine more than two saying, "Wow, Sierra games are too easy. Can you please go out of your way to make them harder for me, please?"
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I didn't think about that, because this is, as I think it would be maybe even generous to say Co did King's Quest 6. I'm not quite sure, but either way, did it with Roberta, and that was prior to this, and that was every bit of King's Quest game as far as being
Mhm.
what would you say, not at all simple. Just
Right. Not at
not
all.
something you'd be like, man, please give me more. It's more like you're bleeding out on the floor, dialing a 900 line for help. uh, so yeah, that's a bit strange, but I mean, I don't know. I guess I know there was people that didn't like point and click in general, right? Like, well, you fought it too, and to a degree, like when Larry came out and stuff
Mhm.
like that, like found point and click, like maybe that's what she's alluding to, the nature of point and click being simple.
Actually, you're right. You know what? You just blew my mind just a little there. I didn't even think about that. Of course, I thought point and click was too simple because I missed the parser games. I'm one of those people that would have written that stupid letter I was just making fun of. I am.
Right. Okay. Okay. This
Oh
is
my
good.
god.
We're progress. We're
This
learning.
is
We're growing.
wow. Am I one of them? Like, that's what happens. You get older and I look back and I'm like, wow, was I really that opinionated back then?
Well, to be fair, I saw the angle you took and ran with was just the overall difficulty of the game. So
Mhm.
totally see where you're coming from. But yeah, I guess if Jane was breaking it down just to controls, it would be like, all right, you guys miss parser, or you think point and click's too simple, then bloody have at it. And she showed them. They showed them. I mean, it's not simple.
No.
It's a pain in the ass, and it's it's I don't know. There's something almost charming about it, in the sense that, like, even with a walkthrough in 2021, you can't really escape it. You're not gonna
Mhm.
find. I mean, even if the walkthrough like tells you exactly which thing to have, like it's just, you're not gonna escape it even now. And there's something kind of nice about that. It's nice to just be kind of effed in the A by an adventure game sometimes.
It is. This game did it to me hard on one of my subsequent playthroughs. I forgot to get the sequin off of the gypsy lady's scarf before I gave it back to her when she dropped it when she was doing the dance, or the fortune teller lady at the park. And then it wouldn't let me finish the damn, like, the next day the professor wouldn't die no matter what I tried. He wouldn't die, he wouldn't die, he wouldn't die. I ended up just starting it all over again. And I don't know if that, like, I don't think it was a lock. I think I'm like a soft lock. I must have just been missing something, because anywhere I looked online they said that wasn't. But yeah, I just it's still tricky. And I mean, that's me sitting there with walkthroughs and video walkthroughs if I need them. I've got the internet if I need it, but I was trying so hard to just make it through on my own. But it was kind of tricky. The game was kind of tricky all around. I mean, as an adult too, making all the connections, figuring things out.
Yeah, it's the kind of game that first of all, taking physical notes is probably a good idea, even though
Yeah, you
nobody
have
really
to.
talks about it. It's
You
yeah,
so have to.
it's like one of those things you have to keep in mind. I guess you'd say that in 1993, you weren't that far removed from the notion of taking hand. I mean, it was still happening, much less removed, right? So it's like,
Mhm,
you know, it's not going to tell you to do it, or feel like you should. Maybe like Colonel's Bequest does a good job, or Laura Bow does a great job of nudging you into it. But if you don't get the vibe enough from Gabriel, like, yeah, it's a really good idea too, because the dialogue trees are intense. And that brings me to the other thing you need, or is heavily recommended, which is just to complete like, set yourself up for success in the sense of achieving like full immersion. get
Mhm.
headphones, like noise canceling situations going on if you got kids, kind of thing. Like you the more immersed and the
Mhm.
more like focused on this game, if you I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you give the game a chance, the benefit of a doubt, and focus on it, it'll probably grab you pretty hard, and you'll kind of fall into it. But without that,
Mhm.
it could look like a daunting task of just dialogue trees. So
Oh
it's
my
kind of
god.
it's kind of the perspective in that sense. And like I know
Mhm.
having a kid, and like I know I already have that one golden experience with this game out of the way. So any other time I play it, if I'm interrupted, it's not a huge deal because I've already played it. So that being said, like I never get through it immersed anymore because of the kid factor, and it's way harder when you're half paying attention, or
Mhm.
just or even paying like normal amount of attention. Like you really got to focus on this game because it's you have to treat the characters in the game like real humans, as far as like listening to them when they talk. And a lot of
Mhm.
people, including myself, aren't the greatest listeners all the time. So sharpen that shit up when you're playing this game.
And don't just talk to each person about each thing once. Keep talking to them about each thing until they repeat themselves. It might be 7, 8, or 9 times. And also keep waiting for that do 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 the little chime when you get your points, because you might find when you ask that one person one thing 6 times, on that 6th time you'll get your points that you're looking for, and at that point you can progress the story a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. And if any of this again sounds like daunting, I have to stop and pause and say that like the story is so good. It's so
Mhm.
worth it. It is again it is written by somebody with actual talent, and a lot of it. And the subject matter, as far as like a deep dive into voodoo, is
Mhm.
appreciated. And what Jane Jensen does brilliantly, in my opinion, is she kind of blurs the line between historical fact and her own brand of fiction. And
Mhm.
she does it so well that, like, especially after Gabriel Knight 2, um like she did it so well in that game that when I finished the game, I spent like the next week just on Google bloody learning everything I could about Wagner, about like just every location that I was just at, all the real life players, because I wanted to see what was true and what wasn't. Like
Mhm.
I knew the werewolf part probably wasn't true. but like but there's a lot of little aspects. There's a lot of like really believable gossip and shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like rumors and this and that, and like sexuality, and like just all kinds of things where it's like, where's the line? Like what was true? And that's why, like, without having a certificate in what a good writer is, I can say that for me she's an amazing writer, because I can't tell when she's bending history or not. And
Mhm.
it's the same could be said with this game, obviously, in the sense that there's it's based on voodoo. A lot of it's true. Like an example, like the way that voodoo has been handled in the game has been critiqued. I mean, anything from the early '90s brought into like the modern thing and weighed against modern times, there's going to be critique. Like, well, I don't know about the way they handled the voodoo thing, and blah blah blah. And like we've never been that kind of show, because like it's just that's also serious and stuff. So I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to say that, like, a good example is like there's like a serpent god like Damballa, and in the game
Mhm.
it's like he crushes all in its coils. And in reality, when it comes to voodoo, there is a Damballa, but it's like benevolent and kind, right? And I'm not even sure people are offended about that. I would just simply say that, like, again, this is like what she does. She takes history and bends it to fit it to turn into a fictional story for our enjoyment. So, like, totally relax if you're offended, because
Mhm.
that's this is officially fiction at this point. And I think it's brilliant. Like, it's kind of my flavor, in a sense, where it's like it's really cool navigating waters where it's like I'm either learning or having a good time. Because if this isn't like a fact or a real person, this is like good writing. And so, yeah, it's really cool. And I guess the last thing I'll say, I'll pass on you for a bit while I catch my breath and drink some water, is that there's a lot of real locations in this game as well. As well compared to Gabriel Knight 2, but there's a lot of
Mhm.
real locations like Jackson Square and St. Louis Cemetery, or cemetery number 1, as my note says.
Yeah,
And
number
then
one.
the Napoleon House. Um, and it's you learn a lot of history through the locals when you're talking to them. Obviously there's some of them are there to serve a plot and sneak in again some things that sound like history that are actually just fiction. And so that's that for me. That's just like so much fun. Where it's like, this is so cool. Like I'm either learning about like this really crazy energy that New Orleans really has and always has had in history and stuff like that. I'm either learning about that in voodoo or I'm being like kind of tricked, and I signed up to be, so that's cool too. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
done.
well, that's what we're looking for. That's exactly what we're looking for when you're playing a game like that. You want to get immersed, you want to get tricked, and maybe you even care enough about the story that you want to know a little bit about the characters that are in the game. And that's cool too, because Gabriel is writing a book. He's going to ask questions. So there you are after hugging your grandma, and you want to find out a little bit about her, a little bit about your father, a little bit about your mother. Are you forwarding the plot? Or are you just finding out stuff about people? Same with your friend Mosley at the police station. If you want to find out personal details, it doesn't get you any points. It doesn't really accomplish much of anything, but you can just ask them about themselves. Like, hey, tell me a random fact about you. And they'll spit out like 10, 15, even more random little facts about them. Or from Mosley, a story about when you guys were younger. I mean, not only are you learning this alternative history, but you can really care about these characters that are super fleshed out in a way that I don't often see in a video game.
Yeah, absolutely. It is, and like you said, it's got that charming. Just my favorite thing about the Sierra games is just the you have to appreciate the amount of dedication when it comes to flavor text and unique text, let's say, and things like that. Like they go all in, and like you said, it's really fun if you want to sit there and just listen to Han Solo or the Joker or whatever you see him as. Just riff for a while with Tim Curry like across the room from him in a vocal booth.
Yeah.
But in a Sierra game, it's a great time. It's as fun as it sounds like. Like it almost begs to be reminded, like, hey, don't get so direct line, right? That's a term from horse training, right? Because predators, which humans are, and are direct line thinkers. We're A to B, like get the thing, start and get there. And like this is a good game. Adventure games in general are great games to not be like that in. Like just buddy, it's literally the journey, not the destination. When you play this game, or if you're inspired to play it again, like just don't rush to the ending. Just take your time, hear all the things Mark Hamill had to say, or don't. There's also that, because fuck me, I don't, I don't, I don't know if
Oh,
that's
the
a good
music
time for you or
too.
not.
You can get immersed. Robert Holmes did
Oh yes,
amazing music. The atmosphere that sets the tone. I mean, think about it. In a
that's
video
brilliant.
game, you have to listen to the same sort of couple of bars, maybe a bit more, a couple of repeats, a couple of times, over and over and over and over and over and over. And depending on how tricky the game is, maybe for hours, depending on the location. And you're setting so many different moods. You've got so many different genres and styles in one game. It's really amazing that the way it all came together. It flows. Oh my God, does the music ever flow in this game?
The soundtrack to this game I would have deemed too literally overkill and like overqualified for for a point and click adventure game, if not for the exact game it was paired with.
Like the cast, right? You're
It's
just like, this cast
absolutely
is too
perfect for the game it's
overqualified.
with. Yeah. That's actually exactly nailed it. Exactly. I mean, yeah. Robert's work on this is it's beautiful. It's just like as a musician myself, for a living and everything like that. Like just crazy respect. Whew. Yeah, you listen to what he does, and it's like this piece belongs in a museum. and it's here we're kind of blessed in a sense to have it in a Siri game. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, bloody cheers to Robert. He's amazingly talented. And for anybody who doesn't know, it's just the sweetest, happiest ending, in the sense that if you didn't know that Jane and Robert are they're a bloody thing, Anna. And
It's adorable. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah, they've been together for a long time, and yeah. So that's I
Talented
don't.
family, talented kids, talented. I had the pleasure of having a chance to do an online Twitch session with Robert Holmes a little while ago, and Ken Allen came on, and it was great thanks to Roberta Vaughn. So it's like a dream, right? You play these games, you hear the music, and then all of a sudden, here it is, 2021. You're having conversations with people. Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, no, it's easy. Yeah, it
Well, I was
absolutely
talking
is.
to him the other day, da da da. It's like interviewing some of the wonderful people we've interviewed on this podcast. It's like, oh yeah, I just happened to have interviewed a person that made a game that I absolutely changed my life when I was growing up. Which person? Oh, there's a few of them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. Life is pretty good. It's a good time to be a Sierra fan. There's all kinds of good stuff going on.
Finally, before
Yeah.
like my whole life growing up, people are like, adventure game. I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to be rude to all my friends, but that's what y'all say. I'd be like, oh yeah, come over and watch me play an adventure game. You can try it too. How do I play? Oh, you type things. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's a tough sell. You're right.
Mm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
I've tried it so many times on so many people, and I've not
Same. So
gotten
many
it
people.
yet.
No.
Yeah, and it's like you think you're gonna win. You think you're gonna win the anti video game crowd. You know, not anti, but the people that just the video games aren't a part of their life. I want to say ethos,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if that's right. So bloody, who cares? And it's like, hey, listen, listen. I get it, right? The jumping, the running, the shooting. It's all very stressful. It seems superfluous even. Dream with me, will you? You know, bloody. It's a story. It's like a beautifully painted book that you get to walk through and decide uh, to a degree how it unfolds. You know, I mean, come on. You don't. This isn't even about video games. What do you not like books? You don't like stories? You know, because I will gaslight
It's
you into
true.
liking adventure games if I have to.
I have installed Kathy Rain on so many people's laptops. Like just to come by, they'll come over and I'll be like, "Here, hold on," and I don't care what I need to do. You got to put something on there that you think they're going to enjoy, and nobody clicks. Like I'm like, do you notice there's like a little icon? The last person was my mother-in-law. I'm like, because she has no games. I'm like, I put it in the center of her desktop. I'm just like, did you
Well,
notice the little icon and there's a picture? Sometime you should try clicking on it. It's a game. I don't like games. Yeah, but it's not forward explanation Paul just said a minute ago. But no, it's still sitting there. She hasn't
okay, so
clicked on it yet.
that's no, it's cathartic to hear that. So you've tried the same approach, thinking it because
Oh God,
it
yeah.
works on paper. It's a brilliant argument on
Yeah.
paper. It's like this isn't about video. It's not like video games, right?
No, it's
There's no
not.
none of that. There's no bloody
Exactly.
violence, and you know it's yeah. Well, anyway, I guess the people listening, you either
You
if
get
you've
it.
ever had success, okay, we throw out the whole write in thing a lot because one, we do like when people write in just because it's fun and it is kind of rare. And
Hmm.
two, it's also I forgot what two is. Maybe there wasn't a two. It doesn't matter. But for real, if you've ever gotten somebody to play an adventure game, how did you? I don't care if they liked it. Irrelevant. Irrelevant. Doesn't matter. How did you get them to play it? And then
Hmm.
also, did they like it or not? And what was it? And how are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, let me tell us about you.
Yeah. I have a letter we can read. I have a mail message we can read when we're
Neat.
done talking Gabriel Knight too. So
Very fun. Okay, cool.
hmm.
Very cool. All right.
Okay.
So my car, I just got a text message. My car is literally in New Orleans now. So it's just
That is
happening live, people.
amazing.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is weird.
beautiful.
A weird thing that's
Love it.
happening right now. Um,
I like that it's driving by itself too. I mean, I don't have a car that can do that. Yours can do that, and that's awesome.
yeah, exactly. No, it's
Hmm.
Not yeah, it's probably legal. With
Probably. Cars are good at that now. They're not like they used to be back in the days when, you've heard that self-driving. It's a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your car works while you go to work and stuff. I mean,
It's
there's
perfect.
there's human urination in the back of your seats when you get back to your car, but it
It's a thing.
it did pay for its own bill that month. So,
Okay,
ta-da!
we have to address in this game the relationship between Gabriel and Grace, because I love the sass in there, and it's almost sweet because it's like the kind of flow to me was at the beginning he's all like, hey, 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 Grace, and she's like, yeah, right, not a chance. And then as it progresses and he gets interested in somebody else, and she's kind of a little bit like jealous in a way, and she's like, I didn't want anything to do with him, but now he's kind of with somebody else, now I kind of like him. But then at the end she's all like giving emotion and trying to give like this emotionally charged overview, and he's kind of like, you think too much, woman. And I love that play between the two of them. Like they're always going to be in this mix of loving and hating, and wanting and not wanting, and
The
jealousy
push,
and
the
no
pull.
jealousy, and the push, the pull. It's sexy, right? That's that charge that you are looking for in a sitcom or a movie. Even it was totally there.
Yeah, I bloody loved it. I
Mhm.
admittedly, even at the time, Gabe was is a bit over the top, but like that was a pretty. I correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like that was a lot of personality traits were more overt in that time of entertainment.
Mhm.
Watch
Mhm.
a bloody late '80s, early '90s movie, and tell me that they're not really like just pushing who they are as a character at you. It's like
Exactly.
it's what they did. So like there's that. There's the fact that it was written by a female. As far as the people don't like what Gabe's saying, I mean, I think
Exactly.
that's kind of checkmate. And then and then at least to us it is, that'll do. Again, we don't like talking about trouble. Um, but as to the chemistry thing, what I love about it is that Grace is basically in complete control over their relationship the entire game. Like she's in complete control of,
Entirely.
of Gabriel entirely, and she's letting him play. She's letting him feel a certain way, but like even he knows that it's not going to happen unless she wants it to, and she keeps him right where she wants him, and that's what made spoiler. I guess obviously who cares, but it made that line that you just referenced at the very end really really cool. We really just extra funny when he was like you're overthinking or whatever, because it's like wait, who is in control? Because she kind of just passed him the ball, and he's like, he fucked off with it. So
It did.
it was kind of funny. You're like, man, so you got unpredictable again, where it's like, oh, wait a minute, who's driving here? Um, so that was, yeah, it was fun, and that vibe really does a wonderful wonderful job, continuity wise of carrying through Gabriel Knight 2, and I look forward to getting through Gabriel Knight 3 one day. But a
Oh
few
yeah,
mates
that's it.
Yeah, we had a few mates tell me it's gonna be a surprisingly good time.
Mhm.
I just gotta chew those graphics down like fat E gristle. Yuck.
I still haven't done 2, and I said on the other episode, which no one heard, that if anybody
Okay.
said that I should do 2, that we should do another episode on it to let me know, and I've had at least 5 different people say, "What, you haven't done 2? Oh my god, obviously you need to." So, just saying that I'm now updating what you guys didn't know needed to be updated because you didn't hear it, but that update is I will obviously have to play number 2.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I can back all this up. This all this stuff she said, it happened. So now it's happening again. But yeah, no, that'd
Oh,
be really cool because I played it like a year ago. It's still kind of fresh for me. It's really really fun. I want to hear what you have to say about it. So yeah, write in, um, bloody. I'll check the emails, and if I get it while Anna's beta testing my game, then I won't show her until she's
you're not allowed to do anything else right now. You're busy.
done. my god. All right. So listen, I've got. Sorry about the listen. I'm being real dictatory this episode. My kid's been out of line. Anyway, he's really not. He's sitting dead silent next to me and has been. You're a good boy. I've got a list of things to say because it's just everything's been flowing naturally. I don't want to just force stuff, so I'm just gonna save all my bullshit for the end. Um,
Mhm.
but I'm wondering for you, and I'm not editing this out. Hey everyone, we're just huddling on the side here real quick. Hey guys, I'm wondering for you. Do you have anything you want to get into before we do randomness?
uh, let's see, anything. No, I like the way that you move from place to place. I like how the map flows. I like that you only have to watch him drive his motorcycle only when he leaves
Yes.
the bookshop initially, because I think you mentioned it, but nobody else heard it. That wasn't your favorite, and you can go into that if you want. But outside of that, it's really quick. It's really seamless. You go from here to here, and thanks to modern technology, it doesn't take 10 minutes to load because the game is so big and beautiful. Remember back in the day, this would have been a slow ass game. You'd be waiting for loading a lot.
Right. Yeah, I think it was 11 floppy disks. And obviously there was the CD-ROM version too, but yeah.
Mhm.
Um yeah, I've always hated the motorcycle scene. This one
Mhm.
feels weird, right? I believe it
Mhm.
or not, everyone, most of the things we've said this episode so far have actually surprisingly been completely fresh. This is not, so it feels weird because I'm repeating something that nobody else heard. So whatever. But I hate it. All right, I don't hate it. That's mean, Jesus. What if like
It's
the
like
guy
FMV,
on
and then.
yeah, this ham-fisted FM. I was gonna say, what if like the guy on the bike was listening to the episode? But that would be horrible. It'd break my heart
Aw,
if I
poor
know,
guy.
right? What a dick! I'm the worst. All right. Listen, I'm coming around on it. No, it's just it's weird to me. What I admittedly I don't like is that the whole thing's crazy clean. The jeans are brand new. I mean, brand new. Like they went to bloody J.C. Penney that morning or whatever '90s store, and got Lee jeans or Bongo or whatever '90s jeans and like a fresh pair of boots, like without a scuff, like the awkwardness of like the first time they've been put on, and a bike that's just was rented for an hour, and I hate it. Yeah, all right, wait, I said I wouldn't hate it. Sorry, listen, look. That's all I'm gonna say. I wish they just just didn't do it. It's weird. Um, but does it have like an impact on my daily life? Minimal.
At least they
Minimal.
don't do it every time. That would suck. If you had to
Yeah,
see that
yeah,
little scene every time you went anywhere, you'd be like, this is now not in my top 5 games.
yeah. Please don't make me watch a motorcycle cutscene before I have to go anywhere. A certain game.
Yeah, that's the one that I recommend to people who want to play adventure games. That's a very good point. But it's not like I could recommend them Thimbleweed Park because they wouldn't get through it. I mean, Thimbleweed Park is a fun game, but it's not the easiest game either. For people that are not super into games, I don't think I'd give them that as their first game.
Hmm. Well, that makes me wonder what the easy mode is like on that game.
Oh, yeah, I forgot they have an easy mode.
Yeah, but I don't
That
know if
might,
it's
then
if it's
maybe if you
enough.
did it,
It would have to make it
yeah,
at least 3 or 4 hours shorter because
yeah.
it's at least a 12-hour game. I think it took me like 21 hours, but I'm not good at it. I'm not a
Mhm.
smart man. I'm not
The
good at
cloud
adventure games.
bits were hard, ransom, and like you'd think it would be easy, like it's kind of big pixels and there's only so many places to go, but it's not actually super easy to just figure out what to do all the
And
time.
and
It's
I
I like
didn't.
that.
I straight up did not want it to end, like at all.
No.
Like from the
Hmm.
fourth hour onwards, I'm like, I never
Yeah,
want this game to end, and I just took
so
my
good.
time with it. I went so slowly on
Exactly.
purpose. And one
Hmm.
day we're gonna get around to covering it. We're giving that its own proper episode. Uh,
Hmm.
but for now, bloody. What else? We said a while ago that the death scenes in this were something. Because to me they were funny in how extreme they were, but they were pretty dark for Sierra. Like it wasn't like a fall out of something and splatter. Like that
Mhm.
that was violent in the sense you saw guts and blood with Roger or whatever, but like this is, I'm thinking of the one where the giant voodoo guy walks in the room, grabs you by the throat, lifts you up, and just bashes your head against the wall. Like
Mhm. I
it's
love it.
so real. It's like huh. Like there's no it wasn't exaggerated in the way it was animated. It was like that's
Mm-mm.
kind of more like how getting killed would look like, and that shit's really eerie to me. So I'm cursing a lot this episode too. I'm sorry, everyone. Listen, next episode we're gonna come back after the holidays, and I won't be saying listen or cursing as much probably. But anyway, the death scenes are gross and awesome.
Yeah.
If not a tough watch at certain times where it's like, whew, geez, that's yeah. Now I'm
Because
thinking
it's
about
not
my own
like,
mortality. Sorry.
yeah, the mummy guy or whatever in the catacombs, he doesn't just like grab you and you fall down. He grabs you and you like dissolve into blood and guts at his feet. Like
Right, right.
they're good all around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. I really like that, and I like that. I don't know. Well, I guess before I break into any sort of like total randomness that I've got written down, I wanted to say and get your thoughts on the puzzles. Yeah, you go first. What are your thoughts on just kind of the overall vibe of the puzzles, as if you were tasked with, if somebody right now is listening, like deciding if hearing this is enough for them or if they really want to play the game and they need to know
Mm.
like what the puzzles are like, what would you say?
Mm. I would say they're not all entirely obvious. If you don't take notes and you're not thoroughly paying attention to the storyline, it might not be super easy. Also, it's super pixel hunty. Like you might not be able to progress in a story because you've missed clicking on one random place way up high in a bookshelf. But at the same time, like it's divided into games and it's very closed ended. So you're not going to really finish off the day till you've done everything you're supposed to do. 99% of the time, you're not going to get soft locked. I mean, unless you're at the very end and you forget to take certain things at the very, very end, you kind of can't get out of that. It definitely doesn't hold your hand. You're definitely not looking at hot spots on the page to click on things, but I mean, it's all logical. The puzzles are logical because it all fits. You have to put pictures together, you have to take evidence. Uh, Mosley tells you exactly what he's looking for to get the case opened up again when the case closes. You have clear, defined goals. There's a built in hint system, sort of, that helps. So yeah, it was good. All of the puzzles were classic Sierra E type puzzles. A lot of it, like it kind of felt like copy protection, and it kind of was. With the symbols and things, there was a lot to think of. It seems a bit overwhelming at times with decoding. Like I felt a little bit of frustration when I had to do some of the decoding stuff.
Right, right. And then of course uh there's a difference in the CD-ROM version with the floppy version as far as the copy protection and opening screens and just the usual kind of nerdy differences that you get with Sierra games, but I guess particularly in the sense with anything copyright related. But I would say back off of that and just on the puzzles as a whole, I would say, like you said, they're really logical. Um, I wouldn't say you have to take notes, but it's recommended unless you are like proper immersed.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess joking aside, like actually like a good listener. Um,
Yeah,
otherwise,
I
take
was too
notes. It's
busy
cool
to
if you're
do
not
that.
taking. Yeah, I was gonna say like if not or not to that degree or whatever, take notes. Um, as always, I always got to emphasize: go to Universal Hints, go to uhs-hints.com instead, and use that instead of a walkthrough. But if you have to, but yeah, the puzzles are logical. It's not King's Quest. It's not Roberta Williams Sierra. Um,
Mm-mm.
but that doesn't mean that Dagger of Amon Ra or Space Quest 4 or so on and so forth didn't have moments of didn't have enough to make you just say Sierra E moments. So yeah, it's not on the level of like a Roberta Williams punishing savage sort of thing. Where it's not even punishing or savage. Roberta Williams is just she likes difficulty, and so that's where you get the more moon logic. This really, I can't think of one that had any moon logic. And if there was one I'm forgetting, then let's just say one most, but there's basically, it's logical. I think where the game suffers is the communication is like a B minus. I wrote down in my notes, like the way the puzzles are communicated to the player is a little, that's the breakdown. I think that's the problem. I remember there's a few times where like the goal, the task, the thing, it should have been made like maybe just a little bit more clear, and it wouldn't have been as frustrating. It wouldn't have told me what to do. It just would have taken some edge off of it. But
Yeah, I feel that too. Like, or even just little things like getting the clay from the crime scene.
right.
I clicked all the thing. I thought I got everything out of there. I didn't think to look at the clay appropriately, which is a dumb thing. I should have clicked and looked at everything, but because in my brain, I guess I processed it as background.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. It's like the medallion in Dagger of Amon-Ra, right? I
Yeah,
can never explain
exactly.
it. That's fair. Yeah. Um, I wrote down a really random note. You'll remember this from the last time that doesn't exist. That this game came out in '93, and I was like, well, we always just, everybody will throw that out there. It came out in '93, and it's like, how do I like give some relevance to '93? And so I checked out movies, and I picked two movies out to help everybody listening just immediately understand what 1993 would have been like, or to remind them what it was like, by saying that these were two movies from 1993. Jurassic Park, very cool, and
Very
and
cool.
and Cool Runnings. So
Ooh,
that was,
bobsledding man.
yeah, John Candy. I mean, that was pop culture. That wasn't a joke.
Mhm. No, that was real. Those were real, like as in box office hit big things.
Yeah, exactly. It was a comedy, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it was real
Mhm.
lives were involved in the making of that stuff. So listen, it
Well, that was a
was.
real story. Yeah, that was the thing. Like the
Oh
fact
right.
and
Oh
fiction
shit, that
blending
too.
thing, right? That was, yeah, it
Yeah.
was based on a real
I
thing.
didn't realize how true my statement was till you said that thing. But
So true.
so that has nothing to do with the game, but again, that was '93. Gabriel Knight, Cool Runnings, Jurassic Park. There you go. Time
Mhm.
capsule. Bury it in the sand. That's all you need to know about '93. Um,
And yeah, those are good movies. 93 was an interesting year. There was stuff. It was different time. It doesn't seem like that long ago, but then you watch a movie or play a game from 93 and it's like, damn.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it's the pacing is real slow.
Mhm.
There's a lot of weird pacing issues with older movies now, like the way
Mhm.
we like ingest media now is like ruining old movies for me, because you need a lot of patience. Holy shit.
I say
um
that to my kid. I'm like, don't worry, it's building up to something. He's like, we're 15 minutes in now. I'm like, some books you have to read the first 400 pages to get into the good stuff. And then my mom will pipe up and go, some series you need to read the first 6 books to get into the good stuff. I'm like, oh man, layers.
wow, yeah, he's getting it from
But
all
then,
angles.
oh, he does. That's multi-generational house, that's you get a little bit of everything from everybody. I don't know if it's lucky for him or if it's going to cause mental problems when he's older, but I'm going to say lucky.
Yeah, 50-50. That's the beauty of life, no? Okay.
Yeah. They in Gabriel Knight, they say now. I guess apparently you've never seen Fiddler on the Roof, but you should have. But in the Gabriel Knight says, "I love tradition. I've seen Fiddler on the Roof 100 times," which is really funny if you've seen it, because one of the songs, of course, is called Tradition.
Right, and then last time I was all like, "Wow, I didn't know that," and then you're like,
That's right.
"You bloody, how have you not seen Fiddler on the Roof? You're the Jewish guy," and I was like,
Yeah. They even have it
uh,
in a song. They're like Lahayim, Lahayim, Lahayim. It's a whole. It's it's really good. You gotta go watch that
yeah.
sometime before you get too old. Yeah.
I had it. It came in the mail with samples of Tide where I lived growing up, but but I never watched it. Yeah.
It's hard to find. I had to get it from a thrift shop, which I did for $1. The special edition DVD. So
Wow.
It's a family favorite. I have the CD in the car. My son and I sing it together. I'm not joking. If I Were a Rich Man is about the best song ever written.
Well, I'd have to be just paralyzed from the waist down without being able to reach the remote, and that's on TV. I think at this point in life.
I know, right? I was so lucky my grandma showcased me all this stuff when I was younger, because
Right. Yeah.
otherwise I would never watch it now. But now I watch it because I want my kid to watch it because I watched it. 'Cause you ever notice, Paul, if you watch something really lame when you're younger, for some reason it gives pleasure to show it to your offspring and
Oh
try to
yeah.
convince them how not lame it is, even though like
Yes.
now it's like 30 years lamer than it was the
Yeah.
first time.
No, definitely. Yeah. I'm 1 for 2. He can't stand Ace Ventura, which is fair enough. Again, the pacing. It's
Mhm.
yeah. He's yeah. But Indiana Jones, he has sat through Last Crusade several times with me, so that
Oh,
holds
good.
up. Yeah, because that's that I don't want to not love him, so I'm glad he likes it.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, that's funny. I just said that to I was walking my oldest and my other one. We were in the store and we were in a vintage shop looking for vintage computer games because they come up occasionally. And I was talking about other people's kids and how annoying they were. And my son said, "Oh, it's a good thing you like us." And I said, "Oh, I did that on purpose because I don't really like other people's kids. And I was worried if I messed up, I wouldn't like you guys either. And I didn't want that to happen. So I really worked hard not to make them into unlikable creatures."
yeah, exactly. And we
Mhm.
appreciate it. Society does.
Exactly.
Anytime we're making a right and the car making a left, knows that he can't go, that's because a parent did a good job. So
It's true. So you have other random notes? What else? Tell me. I'm out of random notes. Read your
okay,
random
we're
notes.
almost done, people. This is it. This is go time. This is what we play for. All right, Madame Cousteau. So this is just a highlight of good writing, I guess. Is what my pop filter is off, everyone. So I'm sorry if I do a puh in your ears. Why did I do that? So this is me highlighting a moment of Jane Jensen doing a fantastic job of writing once again, which would be the character Madame Constantine. She touts Christianity, badmouths voodoo practice, and um, uses is it Grigri? I think you say it Grigri in
Mhm.
terms and things like that. So basically, that was very sloppy of me. What I'm trying to say is that you know while her character is slandering and tearing apart the voodoo practice and people who practice it and things like that, and touching on some very sensitive issues, real issues, because this is again based around historical things. um Jane takes the opportunity to point out the hypocrisy in this lady, where she's saying that Christianity is the way to go, but is using charms in the same sense, like as she's talking with rosaries, is the same sense that voodoo people practitioners would use grigri and things like that. So I think that's very very smart writing in the sense where it's um showing things universally, right, as things are, as opposed to some sort of biased view on something. um so anyway, that's a note on just good job, way to write, way to do a writing, Jane. um One of my notes says 10 days, so way earlier in the episode I should have been like, hey, there's 10 days in this game. So there,
Mhm.
now you know that. Willie Walker, he's a Dixieland drugstore owner, and my note says Willie isn't real helpful. So
Yeah,
heads
he
up.
is actually that you go back. I don't know how many times I went back to Willie to ask him my conversation tree. And I'm like, you have freaking nothing new to say. It is a new day, other than like that conversation with the lady and getting talking about the mask and that. He is, and even then, he is really unhelpful. You're like, oh, could you tell me a little bit about your customer? And he's like, no, not really, man. I'm like, well, thanks.
Ugh, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. No, I had some choice words with Willie Walker, in the privacy of my own home.
Be useful, damn it.
Yeah, I can't believe all I wrote in my notes was Willie isn't real helpful. Like with the that's
No.
that's that's not real helpful to me, past Paul, you dick. I'm trying to bloody entertain people on the fly here, and you're like, Willie isn't real helpful. Well, fucking Thanks a lot, guy. Like, that's all I can really say to you guys now. Thank you, Anna, for giving that context, actually. And, sorry for cursing again. I'm going to put a bloody dollar in the jar or whatever. So,
That's okay.
listen.
I got a note that says haircut. I'm like, haircut? Well, why? Okay. What
So
is
for
that?
me
I
in the
mean,
game.
thank you. Yeah. I mean, is this something I'm supposed to do? Thanks, Anna. I probably knew what that was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. Yeah. Well, listen, this show is held together by a glue stick, and, it does a great job of it. So, listen, I'm going to have to, honestly, if I could put in the description, I could put in the description the drinking game would be to drink every time I say listen. I don't like drinking, so I was like, I should stop saying this, but I'm halfway through it. So I just said it anyway, but listen, damn it, I did it again.
You haven't, I'm guessing you haven't played any Zelda games because you got that, what is it? That Navi, right? Hey, listen. Hey, listen. Hey, listen. But like that's through the whole game. You have to like hear that.
Oh God, I get it though.
It's
Yeah,
Navi. Yeah, that's
I'm
what they're
sorry. Yeah,
doing.
I'm working on
Every
it,
time you
people.
say it, I'm picturing that character, the little fairy, which is second to Cedric, I think the most annoying video game character in existence. Not that you were annoying me. I mean, you weren't annoying me, but it did remind me of that.
Yeah. Well, listen, shit, I did it again. This isn't good. I really gotta. Whew. All right, guys, listen. Oh my God. All right. Okay.
Caught in a loop. Look, just hit restore. I think you need to go to an earlier save point.
Oh my God, I gotta get out of this episode. All right, guys, I got a few more things I'm determined to say at you.
You say your things. I'm going to read an email and then we will let everybody go.
Okay, so the code breaking, I like that. Now, the mummies in the end, the cave sequence is one of my favorite parts in any video game of all time. I love it, and as an adult, I get scared. I get my nipples stand at attention and raise in fear. It's like the creepiest feeling along with the music, the whole castle vibe, the globe trotting. Like you get to travel all around town, and then you get to leave and go to Germany, and just it captures like just the coolest European sort of vibe, and sprinkled in where New Orleans already kind of has that sort of vibe for an American town. And that's another note sloppily mixed in with the previous note. This is another way to do a writing Jane note. So way to do a writing part two. The victims. I just thought this was cool. So the victims are like missing their hearts, or this is an example: missing hearts, heart to. There's leopard fur found around the body. There's 7 people dead in 6 weeks. Gabriel Knight's like having leopards. Sorry, having nightmares with leopards in them. There's ritualistic night stabs. Mysterious patterns are found around the crime scene. And I know I'm just kind of blabbering. This is a point I should have brought up when I had the mental stamina to do so. But I'm just saying there's a lot going on here in this game, and it's really cool. Like, you got ritualistic murders with specific patterns around the scene and carved into them, and like weird, cryptic, mysterious things like a spot of leopard fur. And then previous to that, you're like, wait, when Gabriel was having a dream, like me, the player, wasn't there like a quick flash of a leopard? Like, what does that mean? What's going on? Like, it's a proper mind thing. I've used my allotment of curse words. It's a proper go at the mind. Some coitus with your brain. Ugh, words. So that's an example of what I guess I'm still battling to say when I'm trying to say it's a good game. I guess. Look, I've got more notes, but it doesn't matter. Let's do the letter.
All right. So I'm going to agree with you and say it is a good game, good enough that I played it not just once, not just 1.5 times, but 2.5 times because I soft locked myself. So any game that can do that to me in this day and age is pretty awesome. It has to be because I'm an adult, I'm super busy, and I don't have time to play a game. And I did play it, and more than once. So if that's not enough reason for you, I don't know what could be. On to the
sorry, one last thing. So sorry.
Sure.
Sorry, everyone. Hi, guys. Listen. I got just 2 things that are interesting. I'd be remiss, if I didn't bloody share with you. So this is, I think, sincerely really cool, and I didn't know this. until researching for this episode the first time. When you get a call from a man so you're playing the game, and somewhere along playing the game, you get a call from a man, and he claims to be your family, and he's in Germany. It's Jens Wolfgang. That is when the manual says you should stop and read the accompanying graphic novel.
Yes,
I
good
had
point.
no idea
Good
there was a
point.
time you were supposed to do that. So basically, like for me, for example, I've played this game I think 4 times, maybe 6, definitely not 5, and I still haven't read the GD manual. I think Anna read it like while I was peeing last episode. That's
I
how
did
quick
what
it
I
is.
was like, I'm just going to quickly read through this. And it was really, really short. And it was really interesting because it gave you a rundown of Gabriel's family history going back, in the generations. It was really cool. The graphics were beautifully done. Super worth checking out if you happen to have it. It's online available too, archive.org and those various other places. They've got copies around to look at.
Yeah, you can grab a PDF or whatever in that sense.
Mhm.
Because I remember for a while it didn't come with the GOG, but I think they made good on that. But anyways,
Mhm.
what's really cool, or no, actually, sorry, I'm trying to close off 2 points. So I guess to the initial point, I'll just say that like if you're like me and you just somehow for whatever reason just haven't read it, and like you probably also have the PDF in your Dropbox, but you just still haven't read it, like I'm saving it for the next time I play. Now that I know when I'm supposed to read it, right? So there's the point. It's like just in a fun sort of like play along with it sort of way, and like Anna said too, it is like a supplementary. I believe the graphic novel it's like insight into the fathers themselves, right? Like that era, 17th century or whatever. The wild stab at the century, no idea. Okay, and then the only other thing that I was going to say real quick is that I just think it's weird. I just think it's kind of weird how there's 3D modeling, hand-drawn comic strips, live action, and pixel art all in one game. Yeah.
Yeah, it runs the whole gamut. I mean, when you bring in all those celebrities, you have to ring all the bells and make all the stops
Yeah,
happen.
that's so true. That's true. Yeah, you got your 3D, pendulum, and you got your bloody or talisman. You got your your FMV, your pixel art, your comic strips. Yeah, it's a ride. It's awesome. Love this game.
Yeah.
And the end. I'm all done now. Maybe.
All right. Well, then we are going to jump into an email. Well, okay, it's not an email. Now, here's somebody who was looking to send us a message through the Classic Gamers Guild podcast Facebook page. And apparently, you can't send messages to a page. That's a thing. So he's written to us right in the Classic Gamers Guild on Facebook. And I've also responded that it's always lovely to get an email. We get excited because right now the only emails we get are, hey, don't forget to pay for the stuff that you do. So an email from a fan or a non-fan or a listener or, somebody who accidentally emails us because Publishers Clearinghouse. I don't know, but it's all exciting. And this is the message from forgive my pronunciation, but Amar Sabeta. It is it just me, or is it not possible to send a message to the page? Well, I've already explained that. Sorry to repeat. Anyway, I guess I will do it here. Would it be too much for me to request an episode on Sid Meier's Civilization? I know you guys mostly deal with adventure games, but you did one on SimCity, so why not Civ? There was even an episode on Jones in the Fast Lane, which I happen to love. Unlike some people, we all know, haha, gee, Paul, wonder who he's talking about. You've also done one about Fallout and
Unbelievable.
GTA. Fucking Jones. I swore for you. That's all right. I made a meme of that. Back I wasn't on the podcast, so I was faithfully listening to every episode and writing down what I thought. And I came across that episode and I made a meme. It was just Jones and that's what it said on it. And I posted it somewhere on a podcast episode. I thought it was great. Anyways, so Civilization is celebrating 30 years and it sure deserves an episode, doesn't it? I remember Anna said she played the first one and loved it so much, and she hated number 2 because it wasn't Civ 1. So that is the email, and I would love to, but I can't imagine in any world that Paul would. So, what I was thinking in my head, if we were going to take this idea and turn it into an episode, maybe we could each play or talk about 3 games that the other person hasn't played and explain why either they should play it or what they like about it. Something like that. I don't know. Off the top of my head. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that angle. All right.
Because
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
going to try to convince you to play it. That's just stupid. That's not going to happen. So, no
Okay.
offense,
Okay. Maybe
Paul.
maybe we can even maybe we can even like behind the curtain, bloody, come up figure out games that like we kind of don't want to play, but we really think the
Yeah,
other would like,
yeah,
and break it down
yeah,
why we
something
should.
like that.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
because I
we're
would
gonna work with you because you wrote us an email and that's exciting. I mean, it wasn't an email,
exactly.
but
Close enough. Maybe now that you've heard we're reading this on air, you'll be super motivated. And oh, on top of it, this lovely person has also, they know fun facts about the game, Sid himself, micro pros. That's all cool stuff. I have Sid's memoir. I haven't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to it because he must be one of like the smartest people out there in the world to be making games like what he makes. So
yeah. Well, I don't have really the jurisdiction to be saying yeah, but I don't want to leave you hanging either. You know, I don't know
no,
what to
I would have.
do.
And there's nice comments too. Just one more podcast episode. Just one more. It's simply impossible. I tried. Aw. Well, thanks also to all of you for saying such nice things. And we eat it up because we don't really hear much of anything back because we're a podcast and we're just talking at people. We don't hear you sitting there going, yeah, 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 guys, that's right. I feel the same way, but I know there's somebody out there who does feel that way.
Wow. Is that what our listeners sound like?
The Canadian version of them, yeah. Every person, there's a Canadian version of every person. That's just the Canadian version of you. You that thinks it sounds like you. That is you that I mean.
Like your inner Canadian spirit animal or whatever.
Yeah, everybody's got one.
Yeah, the little maple leaf inside of you.
That's right. It comes out every time you take a shot of maple syrup.
Yeah, or fall on some ice or whatever.
Exactly. So yeah, that's it. That's the message. Yeah, you know what? We will have to bring up Civilization. I spend the most time, I would say, now with Civilization 3, but Civ 1 always has had a place in my heart. So yeah,
So,
we'll look at that and
Civ
yeah.
1 for sure, bro.
Oh yeah. You're super into
Yeah,
that.
we're gonna figure out a way to bring it up to where it's not me just like eating a taco while Anna talks about it. All right, we're gonna do this right. I don't know how, but we're gonna do it right. So yeah, for real. Thanks for writing, mate. That was cool. All right, that's our show. That's a wrap. Everybody, you can't stay. Go home. Thanks for listening to our show. I don't know. I just thought I'd try something new, and I regret it. Let's say the things I gotta say. So, oh no, I have 2 versions of my notes now. This is so confusing. All right, come join the community in the discussion on Facebook. We're a page. We're a group. We're on Facebook. I just kind of said that, but you can go on Facebook and find us there because we're a page in a group on Facebook. Sunday. Bloody find us there. You could get us on Twitter. Anna's doing the Twitter. It's at CGG Podcast. That's also the Instagram, but you know, I personally, Instagram is dead to me.
There's stuff. I post the episode. People don't really interact. I think Twitter seems more interactive a little bit. I'm not
There's too
trying to
many
down
things.
Instagram though. You
Yeah,
contact me anywhere and I will find it and I might get the message late, but I will get it.
I'm all alone on MySpace. You know, please send your friends.
ICQ me.
So it's at CGG Podcast. If you want to follow the podcast, you know, on Twitter or say hi to Anna, or you know whatever. I'm on Twitter at Phantom Fellows. That's where I sometimes am at on Twitter. You send us an email, mail@classicgamersguild.com. That's a good place to do an email at. So you know, go ahead and do that. If you talk somebody into playing an adventure game, please tell me how. Please. Shit. You know, why you got to make it weird, you guys? Unbelievable. All right. Anyway, so thank you to all of our Patreons, especially speaking of you guys, because, you know, there's for how many listeners we get, the percentage of which are Patreons is good, probably. Like, for me, it's good.
Mhm.
I don't know what the bar is, but I'm happy. So you guys are awesome because I'm looking at everybody now. We got your Ronald. I love you, Ronald. We got Una and Gus, Paul, Southington. Wait, don't butcher names. Be gentle with them. Chad Armstrong. What's up, dude? Gratum, Brendan S. Higa, Marit. Shit. I'm in too deep. I gotta say it. I mean,
You got to do it now. You either, and then he can send an email and explain how to say it right.
Mauricio CV. But
Very
CV's like
nice.
initials. Yeah, I hope I did it justice, mate. Jude Gore, what's up, man? Jay Holmes, Joshua Blum, Bruce Bernizzi. I mean, he's been on the show. I should be able to say that one. Actually, I'm allowed to not say that one, right? Because he's a mate. Hi, Bruce Bernizzi, probably. What's up, mate? Joshua Ryan Cost, Richard Sampson. Sorry, did I say Simpson? Robert Vaughn, and just so weird. So that, you know, you guys are awesome. That's everybody. That's all the names they got said. There's another 200 and more people that just heard your names, and they're like, "What?" I want to bloody hear my name. That was crazy. So, you know, step right up. Give us $1. We'll say your name.
I'm down.
And yeah, so we love you guys. Thank you very much for doing the Patreon thing. If you want to become a Patreon, check us a buck. You can do so at patreon.com. We're probably gonna reorganize our Patreon like the way it's kind of done here, and as we reshift the show for the new year and keep up this kind of more live approach that we've been doing, and get out more Patreon content. And I'm not just talking crap, because we did put something out on Patreon for you like 2 weeks ago or whatever. If you didn't know about it, it's there, and it's fine. I mean, don't get excited, but it's something that's there. It's like, it's not too long, so if you don't like it, it's like, oh, it's cool. It's like 3 minutes, but it's fine. I mean, it's you know, it's like cute at best. But we're trying to get more stuff out to you guys. I think we're going to try and rework the tier situation too, because it's a bit rigid right now. It's like, give us $1 or give us, you know, 10 of them. And I just, you know, maybe we need middle ground or something, because whatever. But either way, thanks for you guys. And if you don't, you know, pay for the show, that's cool too, because like, you listen to us say words about stupid stuff, and that validates it, which means we should do it again in 2 weeks from now, which we will. Sorry this episode was late. We did do it. We did it twice, and we're done doing it. So this is for sure it. If it, you know, if this comes out live and it's just one track of me talking to myself and then breathing loudly while Lana does, that's what we're getting, because we're not doing this again. But I hope you guys liked it. If you want to hear Gabriel Knight 2, let us know. Have a Merry Christmas. If that's not your thing, I hope you had a good Hanukkah. If that's not your thing, then just get off all the way off my back. I don't know what else to say. It's just too many things. I hope you guys are good, whether or not there's a holiday. You know, honestly, I kind of hate the holidays. It's nice. It's just really expensive and a little stressful. And you know, I'm peeing out of my ass right now because always end on a strong note, guys. Don't do murder.